Good evening, and welcome to Hang Out in the Crib with your Battle Pirates Crib crew. I am the BP Professor, and joined tonight by Grimace.
What's up?
And Hefe.
Howdy, folks.
And we're still here. So somebody was really...
Barely.
Barely, yeah. All right, whatever. Tonight, I have a new beer I'm drinking. I have a couple day drinkers left, but I got some Mad Tree Entropic Theory. It's a high alcohol IPA. It's 7.5%.
Okay.
So it's pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah. So tonight we're gonna talk about Bounty and some other shit kicks I released and whatever, All right.
Sounds good.
Start the slides. All right. Bug fixes. There's a lot of bug fixes. A lot of people were complaining about this first one, the SOS when attempting to refit mega modules. Hopefully that's fixed. It wasn't fixed. I don't know if I tried it last night or the night before.
Yeah, I heard one person complaining about it, but I don't know. I haven't tried to do anything with my mega.
Yeah, you just try and put a component on or something, and it would.
I did one earlier, and I didn't get an SOS, so it is fixed.
Okay, cool. Fixed an issue where the tactical focus was not centered correctly when equipped to a hull. They've had lots of these graphical stuff lately, right? I mean, the things being too big or too small, and last week, right? Weren't the base part targets all messed up? And
yeah, the Chameleon CIC is still way off to the side. It looks like a little side rigger or something like that on there. So,
have I mentioned lately that Chameleons suck?
Yeah. Loser strategy.
Loser strategy. Loser.
Have I mentioned as well that Chameleons suck? Real bad.
Welcome, Earth. Thanks for your input. And you know what's even better is I saw some complaints that the generalist expeditions were not paying out the bonus for generalist hulls like they were supposed to. So not only do they suck, they're not even giving you what they're supposed to give you, given that they don't suck.
All I'm going to say on the matter is, Mr. Spack, you brought this thing up to us. All I'm going to say again is, Chameleons suck. End of story.
Well, I think I would add to that, the expeditions suck.
I still think the base parts one is reasonable. I dislike the other two, but I think base parts is reasonable.
I was just trying to be just stating a general thing there. I mean, the base part one works okay, and depending on when you use it and stuff like that, but they still pretty much suck.
Yeah, the only time they appear to be useful is probably, at least in my mind, is the titanium one during a raid.
But it doesn't pay enough.
But at least it's
better
something.
than.
All right. Yeah. All right. Back on topic. Bug fixes. Fixed an issue where Nexus nodes would not remember their previously owned alliance at the end of King of the Nexus. Wah boo hoo.
First world problems.
Yeah. Fixed an issue with the explosive force special visually adding explosive range instead of reducing it. Okay.
Yeah. That's not the first time that's happened, but yeah.
Maybe if they looked at this stuff before they released it, they might see some of these things. Fixed an issue with the penetrative overlay displaying null within affected turret stat blocks. Again, maybe they should look at this stuff before they release it. Fixed an issue.
It's almost like the. Okay, go ahead.
All right, fixed an issue where slide loaders were adding multiple entries of their reload stats to the stat block.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, it was doing that, and it just wasn't the slide loaders. It was anything that was adding explosive reload, and it was also doubling it in the stat block. It wasn't just writing it down 4 times; it was also doubling the number. And it wasn't just slide loaders; it was slide loaders, and like I said, anything that added explosive reload was doing that.
Cool.
Yep.
And then fixed an issue where some users weren't unable to access the gantry. So, okay.
You know, I gotta say, with some of these, like, yeah, it's annoying when stuff doesn't work properly in the game, but some of these are like the low-hanging fruit or something. Like, hey, we can get this done real quick. Let's do that. You still can't look at recent attackers or where your alliance is. That's been broken for a long time at this point.
Yeah.
And like, I find that to be more annoying than like seeing null in your turret stat block or the multiple entries. You know.
Yeah, my recent attackers is about 7 weeks out of date. It's got like 1 attacker on it, and it was like 7 weeks ago. So
yeah.
Cool.
Righty. So bug fixes?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, no, not yet. There's one more click. Well, it's bug fixes and whatever.
Well,
whoops. How did it? Did that, oh, there we go.
What is this thing at the top?
The Reaver glowing nav relays now have a retreat button.
Yeah, so they didn't announce this, that people have actually been wanting for a long time. So titanium targets now have a retreat button. And this is cool because it was really annoying to try and prep titanium for other players if you were so inclined.
And people, you know, let's be perfectly honest, them kind of, by not putting a retreat button in there, they kind of shot themselves in the foot, because a lot of people would kind of like auto it and then go, oh, it's about time to look in there now to see what's left in there. So they were still gaining damage from it, prepping for people. So they've kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit with that. Really glad that they've put one in there. Awesome. Love it.
Yep. Okay. New ability, overdamage. Weapons with this ability will at least deal this much damage beyond the target's deflection value. This value is applied per projectile per damage type. Overdamage is currently not affected by bonus damage effects. This has been retroactively applied to 2XQ Mortar, Siege Missile D55X, and Siege Rockets L100 CT. So that's the newest round of Tier 7 Conqueror weapons. And obviously this stat overrides the pass-through damage, which for most reasonable targets is 360. So now you've got this, instead of 360, now you got 432.
Yeah, on tier 7s, but people that are still using tier 6s that had maybe 10 as their pass-through damage, this has gone from, you know, potentially 4 or 5 times the damage to, you know, 30, 40 times the damage. Or way more than that, I'm sorry. I mean, hundreds of times the damage.
Yeah,
not
they're
hundreds,
pretty
but yeah. Yeah. You know, if you've gone from 10 to 3,000, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be nasty for people with the lower armor pools trying to do anything, either guard or both sides of it, I think.
Yeah,
I think it's... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, these charts you made are really useful. Thanks for doing it, Hefe. You know, if you look at the skulls and what each weapon does, that O DPS is one of the most useful DPS stats we've seen in a long time, because previous calculations of DPS were really only good for, I'll say, relative comparisons. You could never really use them to predict damage per second, because it was so dependent on deflections and resistances or whatever was going on. Now it's basically, this is the damage it will do this much damage per second. So yeah, you can see on the bottom.
Why do they do this?
I'm sorry?
I'm saying, but why did they do this? I mean, there's some obvious answers in there, but there was no real reason given, because I provided all the text as far as, you know, their description of it, but there's no, why do you think they did this? Why do you think I mean, is it just to push out the 6.5s for bounty? Because one of the big complaints with bounty last go around was, why don't we just have to do 50% and kill the OP as opposed to killing all the ships, which takes forever.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one reason I think is behind it, but it's creating a lot of ripples the way I see it.
Well, this is certainly going to make player bases a lot more vulnerable.
And I mean, again,
I think it goes both ways.
What do they expect for us to have for a defense fleet?
I don't know.
Yeah, right. If you don't have wardens, clearly tier 7 conquerors are your only really good option in the face of these kinds of DPS numbers.
Yeah, and this is not including, the charts on the right do not include any hull inherent or specials that might be added to a ship to increase reload, which is going to be the big thing involved here.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so it's not quite the number you're going to really do. You'll do better when you get reload bonuses. But as you add reload bonuses, that D55X, the siege missiles, are going to be looking better and better because the Salvo 1.
Yeah, and also they're the only one that does 2 damage types. That's why I doubled the over damage.
If
you look at the blueprint, it's half that amount. But if you go over here to the left, this value is applied per projectile and per damage type. So it's doing 2 damage types, so it doubles that damage.
All right.
That's why that one is significantly higher once you start reading through this, as opposed to the damage that's provided on the blueprint. And if you get one more click, everybody's talking about how it's going to run over bases, but in the opposite direction, you can put the D55X on the Warden, and then I think I also put countermeasure loader and inherently what comes with the hull, and this is all 6 of them on the Warden, and you get a range of a remote targeting range of 264, which is, you know, pretty significant as far as doing damage to an attacking fleet prior to them doing damage to you. And just per second, you know, this is just cumulative damage. So you're, after 10 seconds, you've done 309K to an incoming ship.
So that's about 10% of a missile cruiser's health, though. Maybe 15.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it takes them a while to get back there. I mean, as opposed to what we saw before. I'm not saying this is the end-all, be-all, but I'm saying the other one to take a look at is the L100CT on the Hope with a range of 130 and properly positioned, and then you also include the splash in there. That's the one I'm gonna, because I have Hope tokens. I don't have Warden tokens, and you know, it's gonna take too long to refit because I have a double damage mortar on mine. I have the coaxial, which is doing concussive and explosive on mine, but this is going to be that's just double the 360, not double, you know. So this is a whole different ball of wax, and I wish I had known. I wish they didn't announce this, you know, less than 24 hours prior to the beginning of bounty.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, their timing was wonderful. So, but what I'm, you know, but people might have, yeah, but it's not, it doesn't, and, you know, it doesn't lend to trust from the player base as far as, okay, I'm going to do this, and if, you know, I need to do something else, it's like you had to predict this was going to happen in order to take advantage of it, or spend what is it, like 11 hours per D55X or somewhere in that neighborhood, 10, 11 hours. So you're gonna have to spend 3 days there, refit your specials. So you're talking, 4 or 5 days to refit a Warden to this, as opposed to, depends on what you had before. But yeah, I wish it came out in the whip.
Yeah, it would have been cool in the whip.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is supposed to be a strategy game, and it's tough when you can't plan. So
yeah.
All right. Anything else on overdamage, gentlemen? No. Earth?
No, I think it's been pretty much covered.
Okay. All right, FM changes. So the 111. Last week, the 111 points were being reduced, and we were told it was going to go away.
Mm-hmm.
There was wailing and gnashing of teeth, and the 111 has been sort of restored. So you can hit the 111 and get 150K. But the twist is you can't hit them with Inferno Dragons. You have to hit them with tier 6 and below ships. So, your old mono Zelos fleet work fine. Icebreakers, fine. But no Inferno Dragons. And so they're trying to get players a little bit further in the FM without needing IDs, I guess.
See, that's all right.
And the other thing they did this week, before I go get a beer, is they also made the countermeasures stop working in these targets. So that's why a lot of people have seen additional damage. Some people have seen additional damage in the 111s. They don't work as well, but a lot of people have seen 50 to 100% damage increases in the 117s. Unless they fixed that in the last couple of hours. Anybody know?
You know what? I was hitting. I hit a couple 112s just before the show, and actually, I was taking. I used to take less than an hour damage. I actually chalked it up because I was trying out a Serpent's Crew instead of the Steelheads, but my damage like doubled. I was taking an hour and a half, hour 50 minutes from the two that I hit. And I was noticing the mortars were landing, actually. And I thought, yeah, so now that you say that, I guess that's a thing. Because mortars weren't landing before.
Yeah, I started hitting first thing, and countermeasures weren't really working, so I stopped. I haven't hit any more today, but I've been talking to people, and some people were like, I'm not having any problems. And other people were like, nothing fires from my countermeasures at all. And it's been like that all day. I haven't seen anybody in about the last hour really say anything about it. So,
well, I wonder if it's just gales, because I think my my sprints were still working against the rockets. That seemed all right, but I noticed mortars were landing, and the other thing I noticed is my explosive charge was a lot lower than my missile charge. Again, last week the two seemed to be about the same after I was finishing a target, and today it looked like the explosive was a lot more drained. So again, that's consistent with the mortars that I was seeing. Maybe they put like a evade on those mortars, a flak evade, a countermeasure evade.
yeah, I don't know.
I just wish they'd stop fucking about with it.
Yeah, again, it's a strategy game where you can't plan.
Well, and people were already complaining that they were too damaging, and then just to turn around, if this is all on purpose to make them even more damaging, they're going in the wrong direction.
Right.
You know? And I mean, I was really upset today when I heard about the 111 not being able to take anything higher than a tier 6 ship into these targets anymore. But it all comes down to they just need to reduce the damage in the 112s and 117s. They shouldn't be so punitive.
Yeah, I'll tell you,
I mean, I've scrapped my icebreakers now because I built Inferno Dragons, and now I'm really pissed off because if I chose to do the 111s or the 103s to reduce the damage that I was taking, I no longer can do it now because I haven't got any monos or any bloody icebreakers because I've been like, I feel cheated because I've actually built the new greatest fleet out there and now I can't use it.
And the other question for me is, originally these 111s were going away. Have they decided to keep them now that we can't use dragons in them? Or are they still going away?
I think they're going to be kept.
And if that's the case, then like most people don't have to bother building dragons and just do it with their
I wouldn't have bothered building
or whatever.
I wouldn't have bothered building them if I'd known that the 111s were going to stay. I would have just stuck with my icebreaker fleet and not built dragons. Now I feel doubly pissed off because I've built the dragons. You've changed the targets on me now 3 times, and I'm not going to refit them again. Just to do that, I'd rather just. In fact, I've got enough build tokens to rebuild my icebreaker fleet, and I might just do that instead.
Yeah.
Simple enough, really.
Yeah. Okay. Also in this email post, whatever, new retrofits for some shit. Apollo, Revenge, Spite, Vanquisher. I guess a lot of people are still using Vanquishers in base defense, so that one's probably kind of interesting.
But with this new change to the over damage,
yeah, Vanquishers are probably going to be a lot less effective. You're right.
I mean, they still have more armor than a lot of the other ships, but they should die a lot faster.
Agreed.
Okay. The only thing left on the slide, I think, is I didn't include all the retrofits. There was a lot of text or people can read on the FM. The only one I found interesting was the Vanquisher, because it had range increases and other things like that. The other 3 I didn't find that interesting, but if you need to do something in your retrofit lab, take a look at the Vanquisher. It's 10 steps though. So by the time you're done, I'm sure we'll be on our, we'll have a couple of tier 7 defenders released by the time you're done.
Yeah, by the time you're done, you won't give a fuck. So.
Yeah.
All right. I'm swearing a lot today. Is that all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Scorpion campaign changes. This is the other, I'll say, responding to players. So now, and this is the way I thought it was always going to be, honestly. I was in total disbelief when I heard that you were going to have to use Manticores to get the second set of Manticore equipment. So now they've changed it so that you have to own the Manticore blueprint to do the campaign, but you don't have to actually use the Manticore in the campaign.
Allegedly.
Well, yeah, they're assault targets, so probably they're going to be a lot easier with Manticores, but
I don't know that the Manticores are as well suited for the old school targets. Have anybody hit the 85s or anything with their Manticores? Because it seems like there was a lot of stuff you could snipe before. Now you don't have that sniping ability.
Yeah, I used one scattergun Manticore in like a 65. It took a fair amount of damage.
Yeah. Yeah, that even worries me more. And I think if they communicated at the beginning, when they released this and first mentioned this TLC, if they just communicated that, you're going to have to use the Manticore to do this. I don't
So-
think people would have had an issue with it, right? If they communicated earlier. Because I know a lot of people spent all their
no. Look. Because here's the thing. When Kixeye went to one hull per raid cycle, but 2 sets of equipment. I'll say the
people are hanging out for the skill set.
Well,
and they don't want to build a set of Manticores with the scattergun system on it,
right,
and then have to refit it again. That's the main issue why people are pissed off.
What players wanted to be able to do, the feedback Kixeye was getting, is that players wanted to be able to choose how they build their hull. They wanted more choice. There's a lot of I don't want to build two sets, but then there's also a lot of I want more choice and not just have to do the cookie cutter build. And having these 2 different sets of equipment was going that way. But if you have to build one to get the other, then you don't get that choice. You have to build one in order to get the choice, in which case you've already built the one. So you don't get a choice. You just got to build them both.
Yeah, but are these the same people that are upset because this is going to come out a week before the raid?
Yeah, you're not going to be able to build it in time unless you want to coin your ass off.
Yeah, so I mean, my plan, since I said from the beginning, I plan on building 1 hull, 2 fleets. Not to be confused with 2 girls, 1 cup, but 1 hull, 2 fleets.
Yeah. I'll get there too. And if we're lucky, we'll be able to use the same CM ship for both, or something like that. If they don't screw up how the speeds work, or something like that. With the speed bump from the CIC, I don't have much confidence, but I guess we'll find out. Right. Because what I was really hoping for. And I think I might have talked about this on the show, was it last week or the week before, is that I wanted to hold off on putting weapons and stuff besides like an engine on my Manticore so that I could see the TLC, get the TLC stuff, and then make a choice. But with the TLC coming out the week before the raid, I don't have a choice. I got to build scattergun Manticores or I'm going to be screwed this raid. And that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, and then but on the bright side, on the next slide, I think you'll actually get to see what the new technology looks like.
Oh boy!
You don't get to build it, but at least you get to look at it.
So thank you, because I do see. Oh wait, so now there's this duplicate aura cap of 8% speed. That's the first thing I'm looking at. So yeah, you're not going to be able to match speeds. With yeah, it's all screwed up.
Well, unless you want the other one, because the other one has better defenses, as I recall. So the difference between +8 and +10 might make the other one a tank potentially.
No, because it's a stacking aura, so you're going to get.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh wait, well, yeah, it'll fall behind, I think, because everybody else is going to get the +20, 32.
Well, it applies to the Manticore. Each Manticore in the fleet gets this. Yeah, but the other one's.
Yeah, maybe it'll work. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't run through the math on. Yeah.
Yeah,
but
it might
here it
work.
is.
Okay. Thanks, Hefe.
I don't know. I'm not recommending that, but yeah, this is in our shipyard in case anybody wants to take a look at it. And it wasn't Strike System 4; it's Strike System 5, which is still losing some stuff because you're not getting turn speed, but you could add some other things to get the turn speed, and you're not getting evade, so you could use to compensate for that. You could use the what's the purple ion thruster?
Yep.
It gives you turn speed and splash and evade, or splash dispersion or splash deflection or whatever it's called, splash reduction.
Ion thrusters.
Yeah, but it's the new one, the Iron Thruster 4, the purple one.
Yeah.
This missile damage doesn't look that much higher than a Manus. Isn't a Manus like 8K? I guess this is 12K.
I didn't compare it to anything because.
Yeah. All right. Here it is. Put it on, or else
Scorpion
you're probably...
gear.
So I've just tried a 117 with my Infernos, and yeah, nothing is firing.
So your countermeasures are firing.
Sprint's working, Gale's not working at all.
Okay. That's,
So,
I think, consistent with what I saw.
Yeah. And so I've done a corner and lost half my fleet. So I've sent it home and I've put a ticket in.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Should we keep going?
Sure.
Assault repair times. Thank you for the chart, Hefe. You're showing how the new comm armor is affecting the Manticore repair time. Going from 3 hours to 4.5.
Yes. Yeah, or even less as far as like the Apollo. Right now, the Manticore does not have a reconstruction matrix. So I want to compare it back to the Apollo, where you didn't have a healing ship. So at that point, I tried to put as much armor on, or at least repair time on, that made sense. And that, because of the higher repair efficiency associated with the evade armors, I went with all evade armors to get us to 2.5 hours.
Still better to run Apollos with no armor.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to draw a comparison for people as far as to paint a story. And then the Skyfire, you got a bare haul of 180 minutes, but you were pushed to put charged armors on them. So there's only a 20% increase between Apollos and Skyfires. But again, you had the big ship that was repairing them.
Yeah.
And now we've had another 50% from the Skyfire, another 50% increase in repair time. And at this point in time, we do not have the big ship that does that. But even if we did, it's still a 50% increase.
Well, that's pretty great for Kixeye.
Yeah, and of course we all know they can attune the raid targets however they like. But things outside of the raid is, I showed this on Friday. This is the only slide I put up on Friday because when we did the Wednesday show, we didn't have the update. But this is something that, upset me when I saw what happened. So what happens now if once the Manticore is out on the water and you're hitting raid map targets or TLCs and Earth is sniping your fleets?
Yeah, Earth, you fucker.
Yeah, you're ending up with for a fleet of 5, you're ending up with over a 22-hour repair time for that fleet.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's like it's 9 coins a ship, isn't it? So
that is 9 coins per ship.
Yeah, 45 coin for the fleet.
Don't pay that.
Arsehole, like SPAC, because it's not me. I do not snipe raid fleets and chore fleets. It's one of my unwritten rules.
Okay.
Unless, of course, you really piss me off, and then I might do.
Yeah.
Well, there are players out there that they make up their own alliance as Sniper, or they name themselves Sniper, and all they do is go out and snipe fleets. And it's going to be quite disconcerting if you're in the middle of a raid or just hitting map targets, and you're completely defenseless. I mean,
I just find sniping so boring. You sit around, you wait for somebody to finish a target, and then you hit them, and then you kill them. It's just boring. I don't know. I mean, I guess if you're getting
Yeah.
whiny emails, then it's kind of funny.
That's what it's all about. It's all about the hate mail.
Yeah. So this is my public service announcement. If you hate snipers, do not send them hate mail. Duh.
Mm-hmm. And don't go and level their bases either. Go in there and rocket the docks, and just leave it at that. Don't maybe snipe them back. Maybe snipe air tour fleets
You
back.
can't
But
rocket
yeah,
their
but
docks if they've got a bubble.
yeah, exactly. And you can keep on rocketing their dock so that you can force them to repair that dock, because you can go back in an hour and repair and rocket their dock again. So you can keep them underwater forever, especially if you got a couple people up around the clock. But it seems like an awful lot of effort, because if you look at the CICs, they reduce your armor to anything else to negative 100%. So you don't even get the ability to defend yourself. It's and then it's ridiculous that they have not addressed this part of the game. I mean, they've made it worse and worse every time.
Yeah.
By
when I get sniped, I just walk away. I click repair and go watch TV. I don't, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I just whatever. I don't care. I don't need to play this game.
yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. From the player perspective, it's not a good thing if the player becomes disengaged from the game because of this, and because the PvE fleets have no way to defend themselves at all from any PvP fleets at all, let alone the subs. I mean, the subs are going to tear them up. I mean, it's one of those things. That's the reason I brought it up, because everybody was complaining about the whole Manticore thing, but I consider this to be a much bigger issue than, because I think we're gonna have to build 2 fleets anyways. But I consider this a much bigger issue than forcing people to build the scatter guns on there. Because this is going to last with us for a while, and this is a trend. Once they got rid of the charged, this is a problem in my mind. This is going to be, they need to fix this in some way. The most obvious way, considering they've already stepped on themselves, so to speak, is to reduce the base bear haul back down to 90 minutes, thus giving us back the 180 equipped repair time. And that seems like it would solve some of it. It would make it quite as egregious, but whatever.
Yeah,
they listen to me.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
They love you. Kickside loves you, Hefe.
Yeah. Get good.
Okay. All right, Bounty 9.
It's terrible when ex-moderators have got bases that you can just drive right on through, take the guard out, and take the OP out, and still not bubble them. Just putting it out there.
Maybe they want it like that.
So you can go back in again. I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, Earth last night, you probably found one of your better bounty targets, didn't you?
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
But if you don't do 50% damage, you're not going to get bounty, right?
Oh, I can do it easily. It's just a case of I can run in there and take his OP out, and then I could probably just sit outside and just take all the shit from the outside. But
all right.
Yeah.
All right, so bounty, they're tweaking it a little bit. The drip's been reduced, but replica-based payouts have been increased by 10%. Doesn't seem like much.
Yeah, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean, because that 10%, it's not.
It's going to be a lot harder for players that aren't that good to bank, because before, right, you could get, if you timed your login, you could log in just before a drip. So you get 800 before the drip, 800 after the drip, and then you'd only need 400 to bank. And that's, maybe just a couple targets or even a couple defenses, because that defense bonus is so useful because people just hit each other with gunboats. That's awesome. Anyway, now it's going to be a lot tougher on the lower end players, I think, to bank any bounty at all.
Yeah, because the lower level targets didn't really spawn that much.
Yeah.
Last one, comparatively to the previous ones, you didn't see a lot of 50s and 60s, 70s and 80s. It was 90s and 100s.
Yeah, I kind of assumed it was just a result of the fact that the bases that spawned reflect the players that were playing bounty. So low level players weren't playing bounty. The 50s, 60s, 70s.
Yeah, they came out of the DRAC bases. I don't know. Maybe that's the way it was driven, but it wasn't like the normal thing with garrison targets or FM targets and whatnot, where they're for salvages where it spawned out of your base. These are spawned out of the DRAC bases.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Bounty store. I did the math here, and this is 104,000 total for just the new things.
Mm-hmm.
So you got what, 60K? I guess you don't need the skin, but so 50K for the 3 fields and the 2 new specials, and then 24K for the 2 new defense turrets,
Mm-hmm.
and then 20K. I guess that's 94K, not 104K. It's a lot of bounty points.
It is. And what's the max you can do without that final, with locking on that final day? It's I forget, the number's not on the top of my head. As far as
57,000.
Well, it's 18K for the first 3 days.
Oh, you're talking about total?
Yeah.
62K. If you don't. Yeah, so
It seems like there's a lot of prizes this time, like new prizes to me.
Well, yeah, that's why it's 94K.
Yeah.
Because you got 2 turrets, 2 specials.
You got 4 turrets. 2 turrets.
Oh, max 2. Oh, okay. So wait, that's not 94K. Then that's see, live math. 118K.
There we go.
And by the way, the Dave Onslaught skin, for those of you who've been around a long time, this is from Backyard Monsters. Dave was the best monster you could put in your yard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I inserted the Dave image.
That's nice.
But I had to rotate it to just to show people what it was based on, because it's sort of hard to tell what's going on there with that. But so I included a little Dave for everybody.
That's nice. Thanks, FA.
Yeah. It's all for the people.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see. You can get a second bus.
Yeah, as opposed to Raid, where they told us we could get 5 until, some point along the way where they're like, no, you can only get 1.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have the after this, we're gonna have the blueprints for each one, each of the new prizes. Lead panels 3. Lead panels 3 for 5,000. I'm not quite sure I understand that one. I forget how we got that, but I don't know. Night Watch countermeasures. I think we've gotten into this several times. A lot of people don't think they work. I don't even own them yet. But if you do and you don't think they're working, keep on adding projectile speed until you think they work. That's the only That's the only thing I can suggest.
Lots and lots of projectile speed.
Yeah. It's the only thing that's going to get them to start working. If they do, like I said, I don't own them, but I did a lot of experiments with the elite countermeasures, and that's what I found. And
they seem to work better on Omni than anything else, from what I hear.
Okay, better than on the one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, not super excited for this bounty. Going to a concert all day Sunday.
Who are you going to go see?
Oh, it's the National Homecoming Festival. It's going to be great. So the National's headlining, Big Thief, Future Islands. I'm super excited.
Cool.
All right. So here's the High Guard Warden. Takes a long time to build. It's got, again, big remote targeting range, big anti-mortar, anti-missile range, and reload. Honestly, I haven't been paying much attention. How's this different than the other Warden?
The difference is the hostile field at the top,
Okay.
and then affects all defender ships in the fleet. These two blocks. Below that is a standard Warden block. If you click one more time, this is the special abilities associated with the Omni Behemoth that fit these top two blocks.
Yeah, so this damage stuff is useless now. This stuff is useless.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tweaked down a little bit. The ship deflection, though, that's not carried over. The +5 ship,
Well, because that doesn't matter now, right? I mean, now it's going to be all about the over damage. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, I think G.D. Rakin needs to write an article about what he's doing with the overdamage to get people to understand the logic behind it, because he does an excellent job at explaining the logic behind what they're doing. And we can only sit there and guess from the outside why they're doing these things. And every once in a while he writes an article, and I always enjoy reading them, even though they're about 3 pages long, to explain something fairly simple. But he gets into the logic behind it and the mechanics of it. And this is one of these. I think the last one he wrote was dealt with pass-through, but this would be. I don't think he needs to do as much with the mechanics of it, but the logic behind it. Like, why are you doing this?
Yeah, fair enough.
So.
All right.
And it's got a skull on it.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool looking. I gotta say that it is cool as hell.
It's the only reason why I want it. It's because it's got a skull.
Yeah.
So
you know what? And you can get the bus with a second bus with the flames down the side, so you're all set.
Right. This actually seems worth going for. Now that I talk about it a bit.
Yeah. How long ago did the Omni come out?
It was December. It was December 14th because we figured it out last show.
Okay. So it hasn't even been out for 5 months, right? It's been out for 4.5 months. And I thought we got a year out of everything, but oh well.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Okay. PvP TAC module, the field extinguisher. Removes hostile field effects, extinguishes enemy fire fields. Is it really fire fields that you care about these days?
That's the question. Is it hostile? I have trying to clarify. I have a question in trying to clarify this. Auras and fire fields are not the same thing,
Right.
right? So you're dealing with fire fields includes like the glacial, the Wendigo, some of the side effect or the Epic Cat Mortar fire field. There's some specials that can cause your ships to create fire fields or ice fields. But
Well,
the way I read this isn't going to impact things like the sea web or the aura that's coming off of the Omni or the new Warden.
Or the engine disruptor.
Yeah, so it shouldn't be impacting auras, only fire fields.
Well, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I have a question in about it. I have not got an answer yet, but that's my assumption. Looking at this, that it's sort of limited as far as what it's at, and it's not going to impact lockdown rockets or disruptor missiles or things of that nature. It seems to have a very limited use, at least the way I'm reading it. But sometimes they change the rules on us.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just. I mean, right? It's like this might be really cool, or this might be really useless, and you just don't know because you can't trust blueprints anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Great picture, by the way, Hefe. I really like this.
Cool.
All right, explosive scope increases the range of your explosive weaponry in exchange for reduced explosive firepower. So, in these days of overdamage and pass-through damage, the reduced firepower might not make a hell of a difference at all. So, this might be a pretty good special for you for cases like that.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it's weird that we think that.
Stack with the special on the hopes.
Yeah, it does.
Add you an extra 9%. That'd be pretty immense with the CT rockets on there, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm. All right. And in the other direction, you've got penetrative force. Reduces your missile range, but increases your missile damage. Again, if you're doing over damage or pass-through damage, this doesn't make a difference. And I mean, if you're taking out buildings, then I guess it's pretty good. But when I think about it, missile cruisers do pretty well taking out buildings anyway. This doesn't seem like a good deal to me.
I've seen certain builds with the where the missile storm cruisers have a hard time taking out buildings.
Okay. All right.
So this could be useful as far as offensively, but defensively, it's just trash.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Ultra missiles 2. Significant increase to damage at the expense of a shorter range. So 208k damage. It's not that big.
200k pen and 200k
explosive.
Oh, okay. So that's good, but not that good in the face of hundreds of thousands of deflection. But what this does do is it's got the it adds up. If you got the halos and the 4 executioners, you add these and get another 50% damage on all that stuff. Maybe you start to break through some deflection. So
and the 50% chance of a critical.
Yeah.
That's
double damage.
That doubles everything. And I find this interesting because it's a short range turret. It's not a frontline turret. You do not want to put this at the front of your base. You want to put this on your center island for when they're trying to sit there and take out your outpost, because there's no chance at the beginning that they're going to have health below 50%.
Yeah, good point.
So that critical, and I think your range is only getting to it only gets into the 90s. You don't even get 100 range out of this, even if you put scramjet on it.
So if I'm attacking, I'm going to focus on these turrets. I don't think it's going to be that useful if I'm an intelligent attacker.
Well, it's in the bonus group cap though as well, isn't it? So just by adding this in, it's going to push up your
Right.
So that's the other bonus of having them, is just literally just to increase the power of your executioners and your halos.
Yeah.
But properly positioned, it can keep people away from your outpost, because people have limited time with the right outpost builds. If they're not taking out the outpost quickly. So, and I've also seen the further you push a missile storm cruiser away from your outpost, the more effective your countermeasures get, because of the whatever's going on now with countermeasures. As far as we've talked about it before, is that there's a time that certain projectiles coming towards a countermeasure are not allowed to be fired upon. So the higher the projectile speed, sometimes they just hit it anyways. Sometimes you need to get something really close to something in order to kill it. And this might come in handy with that, paired with countermeasures and whatnot. I could definitely see this one's on my list of things to get. Ahead of the warden, the new warden.
All right. And then new blunderbuss. Huge amount of damage, but again, split over 12 multi-shots, so only 100k per projectile. But you get this grouping ballistic damage bonus, and I'm assuming we're going to see more of those coming. So she can get up to the 8. Right now, you've only got the 2 Howies and then maybe the 2 blunderbuss.
Yeah, I don't expect a huge amount of this. This is more. I would get the missile one first, but I would definitely collect this one if you're into base defense. Assuming that we're going to get more.
Yeah.
And it's also going to push up the Howies as well, isn't it? So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
That's it.
All righty. And no one lost an eye.
What?
Okay. Said no one lost an eye. Like we got through it.
Well, I heard you. I guess I just didn't understand you.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead, and if anybody would like to join us for the after show, I have put a link on the right hand side. And anybody want to say?
Oh, Spex's Mega's dead again.
I see. Yeah, sometimes things run into rough water at times.
It just happened.
Yeah. I'm sure it's a glitch in the game.
This Mega just somehow got dead.
Yeah. So, besides that update on Spex's Mega, do we have any other anything else we want to bring up? What do you guys think about the amount of, even though they're glitched right now, but the amount of damage that we're taking on the 117? Personally, I find it disengages me from the game. I can go 3 of them, and then I'm going to repair for 6 hours or 7 hours, and then I just sort of I'll just walk away and do something else for that 6 or 7 hours. I didn't do one of the TLCs last week. It might have been because it was combined with the VXP. It's just sort of there's no way around it as far as the damage in the 117. There are ways. I could use the Zelos or whatnot. So I don't think that's the long-term solution. I'm sorry.
It's like Kixeye sniped you.
Yeah. It's like they've taken me out of the game. And the dragon, we spent a lot of time building. I got 5 of them. Spent all this time building them, and in reality, I'm better off hitting 111s with my monos and zealouses. I can get it done faster, unless I want to coin the repairs. And it just seems like I don't know. It seems like made the dragon sort of a waste of time.
Yeah, it feels like you've been double screwed because, you know, I scrapped my icebreakers in order to build the dragons, and now I'm thinking, why did I bother? Because I can't hit lower targets with the dragons in order to reduce my damage. The damage in the 117s is unacceptably high for me, so I don't feel like I want to hit the 117s. And now that I've scrapped my icebreakers, I kind of feel that I've kind of been forced into having to hit the 117s, but I'm not going to because I'm just going to rebuild my icebreakers because I've got loads of tokens, and the dragons will just sit on the shelf and do nothing.
Yeah, I mean, they did bring the 111 back into relevancy, but for all the people that spent the time and effort to build the dragon, there has not been any solution for them, and that's one of the things that we didn't really bring up at this, earlier. So
Yeah,
that's
I
my
mean,
only sort of starting
I
point.
spent a bunch of time doing mine. I've got 4 fully built out with all the charged armors on there, etc., etc., all fully ranked, and it's kind of just a slap in the face, really, the way that they've changed the targets. You know, I'd accept it if it was kind of like a 30-minute repair per target, but it's not.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a reasonable amount of damage per target. You know, obviously, initially I was doing them for instant repair, and from going from instant repair to hitting it in exactly the same way for it to jump up to like nearly 4 hours repair was ridiculous. And then I've had to adjust the way that I hit the target in order to reduce the repair down to like an hour and 30 minutes. And it's just a joke, really, because you just it makes you feel like they're making you constantly refit it whilst they're increasing the level of the target, and sort of but you're also having to change your tactics as well all the way through. So you've had to like change your tactics 3 times, change your fleet 3 times, and it's just pissed me off no end, to be perfectly honest. And I feel like really I've wasted all of that time building the Inferno Dragons for no benefit to myself whatsoever. In fact, it's done is shot me in the foot, really, by building that fleet.
Hey, but we don't have 2 different raid fleets this cycle.
Well, yeah, I know, but considering I've already built it,
I was being sarcastic.
Yeah, I know.
It's like they've kind of moved. They've just kind of changed things around, and oh, you don't have 2 different raid holes this time, but you'll have to refit your FM fleet multiple times to even be able to get into the targets.
Well, I mean, if this is intended with the countermeasures not hitting those mortars, that's it. I'll be done with the dragons, and I'll be pissed right off. Not be very happy at all.
Yeah, I mean, that's particularly ridiculous if that's on purpose, because, I mean, you have a mortar, you have a Gale that works on mortars, and now it's just, no, I don't think they're going to work on mortars.
No, I literally got in range of the mortars and it wiped out half of my fleet. And I've got full charged armor on that. I've got like 20 Gales across the fleet. And you're telling me that, Gale 3's all fully ranked, 15 on a Zelos. And then you're telling me that that's not going to work. Don't think so.
Yeah. So now Rampage did start a post in the forum. He said, The team is currently investigating reports of the players that countermeasures are behaving differently in the FM this week. And then lots of players posting, yeah, it sucks, and they're not working. So
then put a little thing at the top of the fucking page on the actual game saying there's currently an issue with countermeasures not working from say mission targets. The team are working on it. Please be please be patient whilst we fix it. Instead of me sending my fleet in there and getting 7.5 hours repair for not even doing a corner of the target and then being pissed right off of it.
Well, and for those of us that started it too, the timer's ticking, and I mean, who knows how long it's going to take them to fix the problem if they say there's a problem.
Yeah, there's a problem.
Problem is they'll make an adjustment and not tell you. And then it'll go away mysteriously.
Right.
And then when it's too strong, then they go, oh, oops, we got caught.
Yeah, and when they do that, and they've done this multiple times, they don't restore it back usually to where the level it was. They'll back it off by like 25% and say, yeah, we messed up, we'll tone it down. And then people are like, okay, well, at least it's not as bad.
Yeah, it's like New Coke.
Yeah.
That's like they used to do gas prices too.
It's kind of funny how
squeeze
that
till
works.
it hurts and then back off a little bit and make it feel a little better, and then you kind of get stuck in the middle.
All right. Okay, well, Hefe, we he probably walked away.
Anytime.
Yeah.
He'll be back in about half an hour once he's found a beer.
All right. I might walk away.
Run away! Run away!
Whatever. Anything else going on?
No.
Okay.
Just waiting for bounty.
I got a question for you guys. The expeditions.
Suck.
I've done one expedition with the ironclads.
Yeah.
And now it has taken it up a notch, and it will not reset back to the first level again.
Okay. Well, so the way it works is every week it resets to that 500%. So you do a cycle, and then it steps down. Your bonus steps down, and it keeps stepping down as you do more cycles. And then once a week it'll reset back up to 500. And there's a timer for that.
I haven't done an expedition in like a month, and it's still set. It says 500, but it's also at a much higher level for the expedition. It's like 2 stars or 3 stars or whatever.
If you check it like every hour, they switch.
Yeah.
Oh, it switches?
Yeah, so you got to keep watching it, and it'll be different ones. Like it'll change to different ones. Just make sure you don't do one of the generalist ones with your ironclads, because that would end badly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because it seems the last couple of times I've looked, it's always been the one that is much harder. And I made that mistake here last week and hit it with ironclads and thought, well, I'll see what happens because I don't really need the ironclads, and I don't think it took out a building.
So you probably hit a generalist one. I haven't noticed much actual difficulty change from the 1-star to 2-star, as long as you make sure you don't hit the generalist with regular boats.
Yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes it's worth your while to wait for one that just pays, on the higher end, right? Because you'll see these expeditions, and they'll, for base parts, right now I've got 2 up there. I haven't unlocked the one because that would just be a waste of fucking coin. because expeditions generally suck. But one paying 75,000 base and the other one paying 126,000 base. So if you see the one paying kind of on the low end, you might just want to wait an hour and see what shows up in an hour.
And I say an hour. It may not even be an hour. It might be like 2 hours or something, but it changes.
No, well, it's an hour. I mean, if you click on view, then you can see available for.
Oh, okay.
So here, I can share my screen. I'll show that.
Yeah, the next change is in 55 minutes.
Well, I think it changes per person.
Well, 55
so here,
minutes. I think.
Yeah, so here's my card, and you can see up here in the upper left, it's 48 minutes till mine changes. Or I can pay 10 gold and change right away, but that would be dumb as well. But here's what I was talking about. So this one's 75,000. This one's 126,000. I don't know what's going to come up in 48 minutes, but I bet it'll be better than 75,000.
Okay.
And then what you want to watch out for. So you see this one. Let's see if I have one that's generalist, because it shows you. So it looks like I don't have any of the generalist ones up, but they'll show, generalist somewhere in this area. So look for that, and unless you've got chameleons, which you like, which you probably don't, because chameleons suck, don't hit the generalist one.
Okay.
Did we mention that chameleons suck more than a $5 hoe on a sale today? No?
Somebody had mentioned that before, that that it does a certain thing, and then it's like it wasn't doing it for me, and I thought, okay, what the hell? But now I see it's because it's rotating back and forth between the different ones.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Okay. Well, Rum's here. I bet Rum's got something interesting to say.
I don't know.
He's so mad he's silent.
No,
that's not
really
happened before.
I just turned my headphones on, so I missed what you guys are saying.
No, we're sort of running towards the end.
I
we just wondered if you had anything,
Nah.
You had anything you wanted to add?
Spex's bubble drops in 15 hours and 4 minutes.
I'll mark my calendar.
Is that from last night?
Well, if it was a 36-hour bubble, then yeah, we would have to assume. I'm not sure how long the bubble was.
Well, it looked like it's a pretty good hit. So
yeah,
it was just over. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Hefe, let's end this puppy.
Alrighty. Well, see everybody on Friday. Good luck on bounty, and everybody get good.
Get good.
Get good.
Alrighty.
Get gooder.
Later, people. Yep.
Get good. Good night.
See ya.
Good night, everybody.
Later.
Good night.
Later.
Welcome to doing the after show. Later, people.